Well, we'd like to welcome everybody on out to our second ever Apex Show and Sell live broadcast. I've got with me today Justin Nathan. Justin, how are you?
I'm doing good, Riker. How are you, bud?
Good, good. How's the weather out there in Indiana?
It's cold. They got snow. We don't have snow in Nebraska. So
Yeah, yeah,
I
we
was
haven't had very much snow either. The drought is killing us out here in Utah.
yeah, I,
But
wa- I was hoping just for warm weather, but guess not.
all right. So, a little background on Justin. Justin is the owner and operator of Nathan Club Lambs. He's also an SC Online sell rep extraordinaire, if I might add.
Yeah,
He
there
does
you
a
go.
great job for us out here at the Apex. So, Justin, kind of tell us a little bit about your background, about how you got into um, show sheep.
How did I get into show sheep?
Yeah.
I, I guess you could say when I got done with my showing career, I went to work for Kent Langmeyer and just got an opportunity to learn from a guy that was at the top of the game and kind of taught me the ropes of how to raise them and sell them, and kind of also how to trade them and help other people along the way too. Maybe with the marketing aspects and the breeding aspects, and then also got hooked up with Dave Geyer and SC Online Sales, and got to start doing online sales. And also now we're hooked up with CCI.live, and we do live sales. And I really enjoy the live sale atmosphere, and just putting together an event and making it happen is just really, really a fun experience for me.
Yeah, yeah, and we had a good time at the Apex last year. So,
Yes, yes, and I think that sale, of all the live sales I've done, that's probably one that I get a lot of phone calls about. What's the sales next move? How's it going to keep growing? And like I tell everybody, I think it's in a great location that's different, and I think it gets to a different group of buyers. But we also, with the internet bidding and SC, we can reach everybody across the country too. So if you can't be there, we dang sure can help you out to put you in the environment of actually being there, and being able to buy the stock and helping with transportation across the country. So
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're going all in on this technology thing on
yeah.
our side of the deal with Show Barn Flicks, and we're diving into. I'm learning how to do Facebook live streams. This is a whole new game for me. So yeah, we're definitely going to try to stay on the cutting edge of things. But
Yes, yes. No, and I think it's awesome too. Like a lot of sales, you just get the ribbon painted on the sheep, but you get the Apex brand painted on your sheep when you do well at the Apex sale. And I think from a marketing standpoint, it's a neat feeling for all them guys, and it's something different. I love that aspect of it.
yeah, yeah, we've gotten a lot of comments on that. We're actually going to also introduce a cool traveling trophy this year. So
Oh, that's good. That's neat.
yeah, once I get that thing live, people are going to be pretty impressed with that. So
Good, good.
it's in the works though. So
That's good. That's good, man.
all right, so today's discussion, we're going to talk about a lot of things. Mostly, we want to talk about how consigners can have a wildly successful sell, as wild as they can make it. Right. So
Yep.
we're gonna dive into picking the right animals, prepping the animal for the show, feed and such, picture taking, utilizing social media, which I'm learning about. So
Yep.
hopefully, I can also give some tips there. Show day activities, sell day activities, and then kind of some stuff to do after you've sold the animal to help your customer to really have a successful year and or life with that animal.
Yep.
So that's our discussion today. We're super excited about it, and we're just going to dive right in. So first
Awesome.
topic, picking the right animal. And I just want to remind the audience, welcome out. Thank you. We can take your questions live. That's kind of cool about this whole thing. So if you have a question for us, go ahead, post it in the comment section, and I will see it. So, and then I can just convey that question directly to Justin. So hopefully
That could get interesting.
it might get interesting. Yeah, exactly. But we do have that capability, and hopefully no one goes too off the wall with us. So
Yes, exactly, exactly.
all right, Justin, picking the right animals. Well, let's kind of get your general thoughts on picking the right one for a live sale.
Yeah, I mean, most people, I think you got to look at a live sale as this is an opportunity to showcase yourself in front of everybody. It's not who's going to come to my farm or how can I put just a good picture up on the internet. I think it's one of them things. You're there to showcase an animal that you'd be envious to see at another breeder's house. If it's one that's hard for you to let go of, them are probably the right ones to bring to a live sale because they're going to generate the most hype and excitement. But like I tell people too, not just bringing that one that's out there on an edge, but making sure your set's consistent and it represents you as a breeder or as a livestock person is a huge, huge part of it. And I don't look at just the guys that maybe show up with one or two that are just elite and way out there on the edge. I support that and I'm all about that. But them consigners that bring you 10 head of sheep, 10 ewes or maybe 5 ewes and $5, but you can see how that sire group is consistent. You can see that ewe base consistent in what they're doing. And then that gives them buyers confidence in what they're buying and, the opportunity. I think right now, everybody likes fuzzy sheep. So big-legged sheep that are tall-shouldered, good outline, and have muscle. Them are the ones you want to bring, But I also think bringing some moderate ones that are crazy wide. There's guys out there that still need them breeding pieces. If you are at home and you're sitting with a group of FFUs, I mean, the best thing in the world would be a DD buck lamb for you. That's functional. So I think just bringing variety, but also keeping it consistent to represent yourself as a breeder is a huge, huge deal also.
Yeah. Okay. So diving a little bit deeper into that,
Okay.
you're picking ewes to bring.
Yep.
How do you make that decision between, all right, I'm going to keep this one and this is the one I'm bringing to the live sale?
Well, I'm not that guy to talk to on that because I just put all of them on the online sale. So I don't have to decide that. They're all for sale and make it easy, But like when I worked for Kent and stuff, we did a lot of live sales stuff. Our biggest thing was, especially if you have guys that come by your place and there's a ewe lamb or something that there's 3 or 4 guys that have been hitting you up about, they're interested in it, and you're kind of like, I don't know if I should sell her. Them are the kind you probably should bring because you already have momentum built on that ewe lamb or that buck lamb before you're there because you already got 2 or 3 guys interested that are close to you. Now you're going to use SC, CCI Live, and the Apex sale in general to broaden the group of buyers to market this animal at the highest possibility.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've done both, right? I've taken the ones that I don't want to sell,
Yep.
and I've taken the ones that I'm like, hey, I'm okay with selling this one.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And you have a lot more success with the ones you don't want to sell naturally, and your customers are a lot happier usually because they bring her home, they show that they have success with her in the show ring, and then they turn around and breed her to, they AI her and they get some killer lambs out of her, and then they call you up and be like, man, that you killed it for me.
Yes, exactly.
And that's the kind of conversations you want to be having with the breeders that are buying your breeding stock, especially, I think. So
for sure. Well, and
okay.
I think too,
go ahead.
I think too, when you sit there and also you're looking at what to bring or not to bring, I don't think you ever want to put your sales management in a position where you're like, I know this one ain't quite good enough because you're going to take some phone calls. I'm going to take some phone calls, and they're going to be like, hey, what was this sheep of Hobbs's that was like their 6th animal? Like, what's your opinion on that? And you don't want to put me and you in a spot to have to like, how do you explain this to that guy that's calling up from West Virginia? Like, she's just nice. Like I always get, you're putting me and you in a bad situation because it's hard for us. We got to help sell them, but at the same time, we want to be honest to the buyers about exactly what they're buying, and we want people confident in that. So to me, if you think that it's a sheep that's going to be put us in a bad situation in terms of promoting, that's probably not a sheep that you want standing there either, So it's not always just about bringing an elite one, but if you're just throwing extra sheep on that sale to put you or me in a situation of, somebody called us and asked us our opinion of it, and we have to give them an honest answer, make sure we can be positive and not have to ever be negative about that animal.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Any decisions that you're going to make on the weather side of things when you're picking weathers to come to a live sale? What kind of is different about that?
I think knowing the market that's willing to buy them at that point in time. I look at the Apex sale, where the beginning part of April. To me, we're in prime time selling of weathers. I think you could bring, a January, February. If you can make that size work, I think a fall born that's maybe 125, 130 pounds. There's probably not a buyer looking for a big sheep at that point in time of that size and caliber. But I think them, weathers that are between 50 and 80 pounds, I think, you know, everybody in the country can still use a good one. So to me, just knowing that situation of, where can we go with this weather? California probably has all their DNA and all that stuff done by that point in time. So probably trying to get a sheep that needs to go to the West Coast or market that sheep at the Apex sales, probably not the smartest thing, but a sheep to go to Oklahoma, Texas, Midwest state fairs, I think that's prime time to sell them. So we'd love to have them kind there.
Yeah, yeah, and it kind of the results from last year definitely lean towards those December, January, February born weathers.
Yep.
Those were what people were on the hunt for. They're looking for their late summer and fall fairs
Yep.
at that time.
Yep.
So
Well, and I think too, like the nice thing about Apex, bringing different breeds, Dorset specs, not just a good hamp or a crossbred. I mean, if you bring us a breed sheep, I think there's a lot of opportunities to move them kind of sheep everywhere.
yeah,
Because like Nebraska shows by breeds, Kansas shows by breeds. So I think there's a lot of Midwest state fairs that we could still get them sheep entered and DNA'd for. That guys are willing to buy them. So,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we had lambs go all over the country out of the Apex. So
yeah,
when Justin and I say that, I mean we've got evidence
yeah,
that it
yeah,
happened.
exactly, exactly.
We're
Yeah.
not just saying that to say that. Okay. And last kind of question that I have here is when you're picking a ram to go to a live sell,
Yep.
what are you bringing? Right. Because I kind of think the ram market's changed a lot in the last about 5 to 10 years. So,
Yeah, and I think our industry in general has changed with the RAM market because, if someone shows up with the next drop the mic or the next gorilla, the next unicorn, the next pandemic, any type of buck of that nature, um, it's a game changer because a small breeder now doesn't have to worry about trying to partner in to probably buy that sheep because they know they're going to be able to buy a jump of semen on that buck.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
also think what the AI and the ET and all that has done for us is, guys they're spending that money on that jump of semen, but the problem is now they're realizing, hey, I still got to have a good cleanup ram at home, and I think some guys maybe have fallen off in terms of that because they focus so much on spending all their money on buying that jump of semen. So I think that's the neat thing about the Apex now is, hey, it's an opportunity to maybe to pick up that cleanup buck that we need to clean up our AIs. Or, I think a breeder bringing a buck there, you need to bring something that's, how do I want to say this correctly? But maybe one that's maybe not so far on an edge, but it's one that you can be confident to kick out with a group of 50 or 80 U's because that buck's going to be cleaning up a group of AIs. So, there could be big ones, moderate ones, big ones that need more, fuzz, ones that maybe need more lower stifle shape. So you kind of need that middle of the road type buck that just is going to do a really good job, just kind of down the center. But I still think there's those guys out there that are hunting the pieces to the right and to the left, but it maybe ain't in as high a demand as what it was maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think you nailed it right on the head with that. Um, Perfect. All right. Let's move on and kind of talk about prepping the animal for the show. We got some really young weathers coming,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Freshly weaned. Talk about how we can get these animals prepped for the show that are so young.
I think the biggest thing is, once you have your animals picked out and as long as they're weaned off the side of the mom, I think the first thing you always need to do is, just go through their health, like worm them, run cord through the water. I also think, maybe backporn them with some Ultra Boss or, injectable wormer to make sure they don't have heel mites or anything of that nature. So they don't chew the leg wool out and that type of stuff. I just think being a good shepherd and the maintenance of that is a huge starting point. So they're not fighting for, feed space or, they basically have feed in front of them. They're comfortable. They feel like they're in a good environment. You can take out the weather and that stuff. If it's hot, get fans on them. If it's cold, keep them blanketed, maybe put them in a heated barn or something of that nature. And understanding your environment, I think, is huge. But I think getting them lambs rough sheared with 13s, worming them, corrid, and just basically getting their health right at the start is a huge start. And then once you have that kind of accomplished, I think 2 weeks to 10 days before the sale, I think getting them started on electrolytes or some type of drench going in is huge because, sheep from Nebraska coming to Utah, the water could taste different and they could go off, drinking water. So making sure they're on some type of drench or something to keep that flavor the same, to kind of fool the sheep, I think would be a huge, huge benefit. I also think just getting more calories in them and all that and getting them used to that, I think is huge for at the sale. So they don't look like you're forcing them, because most sheep, once you start drenching them, they'll basically suck it out of a drench gun once they know that it's good stuff. So I think they're all really good things to do. So
Perfect. We have a comment come in from Smith Valley Club Lambs. They actually brought one of the class winners last year to the Apex. And he says that they're bringing a group of lambs from their keeper pen. So that's the kind we want to see, Dan. We appreciate that.
Yep, that's awesome.
So, all right, we're gonna kind of dive into picture taking now. So we got young lambs that you probably don't want to peel the wool off of until you even get to the show, right? So what age do you want to take the pictures of these young lambs with the wool on them?
I always tell people 40 to 45 days old is probably perfect. That 4 to 5 week of age, or 5 to 6 weeks of age is probably the perfect time to picture them lambs, where their fleece hasn't quite opened up. They'll look smooth still. They still kind of got that baby bloom on them. They're not in that weaning stage where they start to kind of suck down a little bit, and they're still, they still look athletic without just kind of looking plain because of their wool. So I think any time in that side when they have wool on is huge. I think once you get them rough sheared and stuff, I think if you rough shear them, I always tell people to wait like 5 to 7 days to kind of let that wool grow back a little bit, and it'll make them smoother. And I think that works really well too. So
those are great tips. Okay, so you've got a young lamb, maybe hasn't had a ton of work, and I honestly have no clue how guys like you do it that are selling 100 lambs. But you managed to take some pretty dang good pictures of those small lambs that don't get very much work, I'm guessing. So kind of give us some tips with that.
Yeah, I mean, like on a picture day at our house, we have a crew of people, obviously, because we have a bunch of head. And, all we do is basically we put them lambs on a fitting stand. We take like one of those pig sprayers and we put a little water in their legs and kind of fluff their leg wool up. Basically, we'll smooth up their docks, because when we kind of clip around their docks so they don't get tail infections with that baby wool and stuff on them. So we'll just kind of trim that up and make that look smooth. And then, we might put a little final bloom or something like that in their leg wool just to kind of shine it up. And that's basically all we do. And then we have a guy basically set up that's on basically a stand outside, and we just kind of keep rotating sheep to them. I like taking my pictures outside in a natural light because I think it makes your picture quality so much clearer. I think for people doing it inside, just get a few of them LED lights and kind of make it brighter. Because I think that's a big thing. People don't want to see a dark picture that's hard to see a sheep in. Like you want to be able to see the lines of the sheep and not have to guess. Is this sheep? Does he look stout enough or doesn't he look stout enough? You want people to be able to just recognize the quality in the picture, if that makes sense. So
yeah, absolutely. So, what tips do you have for getting them set up? Kind of getting them to brace just a little bit.
well, I can't tell them tips online. No, I mean, it's no different than anything. Like I tell people, if you want to have a successful picture day, that week leading up to the picture, I would be setting them lambs up once a day. Just
There you
putting
go.
them up,
There you go.
rolling through, and just practice setting them up. And maybe even like the day before you have pictures, if you're doing it in a different environment, just run them through and set them up on your stand or however you're going to do it, just so they're not scared because they've never been in that environment.
Yeah.
I think the other big thing is, and a lot of people make a mistake of, is having some type of surface that they're comfortable setting on. Like we use a carpet, but sometimes that carpet's so slick that we have to put a mat underneath it, just to try to help that lamb be able to support its footing. So, I mean, just doing little things like that to help the animal, I think, is a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
But and I think people, the biggest thing is not getting frustrated, taking a deep breath sometimes when they start acting up, and just relaxing for a minute. And I think that can help you have a better successful picture day too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's one of the keys I tell everybody is, you put in just a little bit of work with those lambs before you start taking pictures with them, and it makes a world of difference,
Yeah.
So I know Kobe Birch, he talks about how he will go in there and he plays with all those lambs that he's taking pictures
Yep.
of for quite a bit, and he takes pretty dang good pictures too.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, he does probably better than I do. So
yeah.
I mean, it's no different than right now. I'm on the road looking at sheep for SC and the Apex sale and everything that we're a part of. My hired guys are at home right now and they pen the sheep up and they're going through catching them once a day and trying to get them sheep broke, and also, just getting them sheep locked up. So when you have customers come, they're not bouncing off the walls or running into the fences and they're not scared, I think is a huge benefit too. So.
Yep, absolutely. Good tips there. All right, utilizing social media. I'm gonna let you start and kind of give your thoughts on that.
Oh, I mean, I think that's the game changer of what we do now is the social media aspect, the internet aspect. Um, you know, it's not just marketing putting your sheep up on SC Onlines or having it on CCI Live. I think the big thing is using your other change of marketing like Instagram and Facebook, where you can tag me, Riker, SC Online Sales, the Apex sale, and then it can share to our audience that's tuned in to what's going on with that sale. And you start doing that, and all of a sudden you start reaching thousands of people instead of just reaching the people that were at the sale. And I think that is a huge benefit of how the world works nowadays. I stopped at a few guys' places and they're like, yeah, this lamb we put up on Facebook, and, an hour later I had 5 phone calls of somebody wanting to buy it. And, that's the neat thing about the internet. So I think putting that up there and doing it and tagging you or me, the Apex sale, SC Online Sales, I just think it's a huge benefit and it reaches a bigger audience. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And some tips that I would give as well is there's a bunch of Club Lamb groups out there on Facebook, right?
Yep.
So in fact, there's probably one called the Club Lamb group. There's like the Show Lamb Source, stuff like that.
Yep.
Go find those pages and join them.
Yep.
And then you can also share all of the stuff that you're posting just to your own site. You can share it to those groups, and that just amplifies your exposure. So
Yes.
that's a big tip that I would add as well. So
Yeah, and I'm not probably the perfect person because Tori does all of our social
yeah.
media. She's probably one of the person that could tell you more things to do. And I know that you can pay for some of them sponsorship deals on Facebook that helps your reach, or you can set it for, the area you're in. And I do think that's a huge benefit, once we get to the Apex sale, if, you can utilize some of them marketing tools like that, I think is a huge benefit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And to our audience that's watching, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them now. Also, if you watch this later and you're not able to ask a question live, feel free to call either Justin or I, and we'll help you out with stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think social media is probably one of the most underutilized tools by a lot of folks, just because they're not familiar with it,
Yeah.
and just going on and posting on your own Facebook page, that your friends are going to see it, or the people that are following your Clubland page are going to see it, but that's about it, right? You've got to grow the number of people who are following your page, and I think one of the best ways to do that is by getting involved in those Facebook groups. So,
Yep.
All right, let's talk about stuff that you do on show day to kind of promote your animals on show day.
I think the big thing on that is just having them presented well, having them clipped right, not trying to cut them up or beat them up too much when you're shearing or clipping them, also trying to get their legs clipped right. And it's not even, not clipping them right, but if you have one that has crazy bushy legs and you don't quite know exactly how to take it down, I always tell people it's better to leave more than take too much off and, cost yourself something of that nature. I know we were out there in California and there was somebody that was he got a little aggressive with the clippers, and I went over and just kind of tapped him on the shoulders. And I was like, "Hey man, don't take all that off, 'cause I think you're costing yourself some dollars." And he's like, "Well, I just didn't know." And I was like, "Yeah, sometimes it's better to leave some than take too much." But, getting them clipped right and then having them washed, and getting them cleaned up, and then, putting some like silk or, Sure Shine or something like that on their skin so it handles smooth. And then, when you go out in that ring, just showing them, like you were actually in a show and representing yourself. I mean, all of them things are going to make you more money through the weekend.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And on top of that, I'd add, if you've got somebody with you that can snap some photos while you're in the ring,
Yep.
get some photos snapped, throw them on your Facebook page as well, and get them shared a few times to get them in front of a few thousand people as well.
Yep.
So,
Yep. And,
uh,
and I mean, when you're out in that ring and people come out to handle them or for the viewing, I mean, answer questions, treat everybody with respect, and just like you would want to be treated if you were asking somebody about their animals. So,
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then, side note, with the Apex this year, we're actually going to have live commentary throughout the show.
oh, that'll
So,
be interesting.
yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna be probably doing most of it,
Yep.
and then we're gonna invite the class winners to come and talk to us once they get out of the ring, and
Yep.
just chat with us about their program and the animal they brought as well. So
That'll be awesome.
it's gonna be awesome. We're gonna have a good time on show day. So,
Good. Good kid.
all right, sell day activities. What do you want to do to maximize your opportunities on sell day?
Make sure you got cell phone service.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's a good
Yeah.
place
No,
to start for sure.
I mean, I think going back to, hitting up your social medias, promoting stuff out there, even coming up with like kind of a little, how I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but kind of some of them little clip art deals that you can do real easy. There's some of them programs you can download and kind of, maybe if you had a class runner, make some type of little ad up for it, put it out there on social media, and, try and get that stuff going, I think is huge. So I think all them things are really good. I think being around your sheep and having your sheep out so people can look at them, not having them covered up the whole day right before you sell, only unblanket them for 20, 30 minutes at a sale like the Apex. I think guys are constantly walking around, and having them sheep out so people can view them is a huge deal. And then having information about them like sires and pedigrees, and having your blood work stuff done, because a lot of guys want to know about scrapies, the dwarf gene, the spider gene, I think having that information on hand for them guys is huge, and it adds value to your stock.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And, Megan Hobbs, she does really good with those clip art,
Oh yeah,
things. She
yeah,
yeah, she uses the heck out of those, and I think they're really effective. So,
yeah. Her social media game is very strong. I mean,
yes,
very
yes, it is. Yeah.
she
And
probably needs to be giving us a class on that deal. So
you know what? I'm doing a Facebook Live with her next month. It's for sure gonna be a topic that we breach. So,
that'll be good. That'll be real good. So
all right. Let's
yeah.
see here. All right. Let's talk about creating customers that want to come back again and again.
Yep.
So what's your secret, Justin?
What's my secret? I don't
You've
know if
got
I
dang good sheep. I mean,
yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, no, I mean, I think you're selling breeding stock here at the Apex sale. You're not just selling market lambs. I mean, selling market lambs is a pretty easy deal, because most people are going to see them animals in person, and they're going to go home and show them, and it's on them in terms of feeding, exercising, taking care of the leg wolves. You know, they kind of also help control their destiny. But when you're selling rams and ewes, there's things that can go wrong that are out of my control, out of your control, out of, consignor's control. And I think the biggest thing is guys realizing that and being able to work with customers and stand behind the products they're selling. I mean, I think that's one thing that's going to make customers want to come back to you is, hey, this ram had a issue during breeding season. Not just telling that guy to go, well, I'm sorry, that's part of life, standing behind your buck that you sold and being like, you know what, we'll make this right. We need to get this figured out, and being a man and stepping up and getting it worked out. I think that's a huge success or a huge way to be successful for guys to come back to your place. And I think that's the same way on the U side is, you sell a U lamb and she prolapses or something like that. I'm not saying you got to replace it every time or right away, but when that customer calls and has a concern, listen to them, talk to them, help them through it. Don't just, yeah, it's part of raising sheep or, kind of blow them off. Cause I think that's what rubs a lot of people the wrong way, and if I buy a high dollar ewe from you, Riker, and, a month later down the road, I'm like, hey, Riker, what would you have bred this ewe to? Or, if that customer reaches out to you and asks for your opinion or help, I think just giving them the time of day and trying to help them through the situation is huge too. So
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. All right. That kind of brings us to the end of our discussion. I kind of wanted to talk about SC Online and the benefits that it can bring. Let's have you give us your spiel there.
oh, I mean, I think anything on the internet where you can get it, with the Apex where we have that view only sale, I think it's really good because it can help get promotion going on them animals before they get there. It gives you a place to advertise free of charge, basically, to get guys motivated, maybe get the phone ringing before you get in the truck to go to the Apex sale. And I think that's a huge benefit. I also think it allows guys to use me and you as a credible person to get an opinion on the animal, where they're not just relying on their buddy. They could call you or me and be like, hey, what's lot 101 look like? And me and you can be like, that one's badass. Like, you need to buy that thing. That thing's got all the tricked out pieces, and he's a game changer. Them are the things that SC can help. We're out here trying to look at them sheep. We're trying to add value to your livestock. That's the one thing. I always like selling my own stock, but I get more enjoyment out here on the road looking at animals and trying to help guys, what do we need to breed to next year? How do we need to change to make our sales better or more successful? And I think that's what helps separate us from everybody else is, trying to do that, to not just be there the night of, hey, I know you're having a sale. Do you have any minimums, anything going on? I want to be more involved in that, I guess. And I know I don't do it perfectly every time, but I try my best, and anybody that knows me knows I'll give you the time of day and try hard at it. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
that's a hard part. But I think like our accounting side and just being able to see things from the on the backside in terms of views on lots, so hey, maybe this picture didn't work as well or wasn't perceived as well as another picture, and you know how you can change your angles to grow, and you know, being able to see your views on the sale total. You know, maybe this sale you advertised one way and that the other sale you advertised another way, and learning, all right, well, this other way we got way more reach out of marketing there. So you can put your money over there to, you know, get more views onto your sale, I think is a huge deal. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's probably one of the most underutilized tools with these live sales is getting those pictures up in a timely manner, you know,
yeah. Yep.
because there is heck, I go to SC probably 3 times a day, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
And so if you've got your pictures there, odds are I'm gonna see them at least 3 times a day,
Yeah.
just checking cells and stuff. And if I'm doing that, just imagine what, you know, everybody else is doing out there. I mean, you might even know how many thousands of views do you guys get on a typical day?
Oh, I'd say it'd be 60 to 100,000 easily.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and I mean, what's crazy to me is like we kind of watch traffic and we watch tendencies of, you know, buyers and stuff. And it blows my mind because it's like Sunday nights, Monday mornings, like get back to work. You're not really in that workflow yet. I think there's a lot of people surfing the web at their jobs on Monday, like, oh, yeah, what got put up on SC this week? And, you know, I think that's kind of represents us as people. And I think Fridays and Saturdays are days where people are with their families and they're, you know, at sporting events and stuff like that. And, you know, we've seen that them days maybe haven't worked as well unless it's a big deal like the Apex or, you know, a live sale in that nature, then it seems to work. But just an online sale, it's not as easy of a deal to get people to pay attention like them types of days of the week.
Yeah.
So I think understanding and knowing your buyers is a huge benefit to it. So
Yep.
and
Yep.
and I know what
100%.
what you were saying, and I can say this from helping manage sales. There's nothing more frustrating than for me and Riker, you know, when sale management sends you out an email exactly telling you how to get your pictures in, how you want the information. I mean, as a consigner to the sale, it's a respect thing to send them pictures in and send your information in right. And I tell people all the time because they get so frustrated, like, you know, we might have a 4 o'clock deadline on, you know, the sale week where we need your information. And then guys will come up to me an hour or 2 hour later and they're like, here's my information. And they don't understand how frustrating that is because there's so many moving parts to a live sale that you and me have a schedule set up and now you just changed our schedule. And
Yeah.
sometimes like it's not that we don't want to help you promote your animals, but also have some respect to get your homework done to help us as sales staff, you know, help you be successful. Don't put us in that situation where we have to make a decision. Do we have time to get your stuff uploaded or put up there? You know, if we send you a criteria of, you know, hey, noon on Thursday, we're not putting any more changes on SC, then that means, you know, Thursday morning, you better if you don't have it in, you better be getting it to us, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not that
Absolutely.
we're not here to help you, but also know that Riker's got a lot of other irons in the fire that he's got to worry about and trying to get stuff to SC or, you know, Tori to get it put up. It's just kind of a respect thing. And I think consigners do get frustrated with me at live sales, but we also have to put our foot down because we could be uploading pictures an hour before the sale. And like I try to explain to people, getting that picture up there an hour before the sale close probably is not going to benefit you. Getting that
Yeah.
sale put up there on Monday or on Monday morning before that sale happens on Saturday is going to benefit you. And so I think that's a huge thing that consigners need to realize, that being at home and getting your homework done is going to help you earn more dollars the day of the sale.
Yep. Yep. 100%.
And I think
100%.
you commented on it early, but Hobbs's do a great job. They get them pictures up early, they get it out there, they get promoting it, and you know, I think they're an example of how successful you can be by doing that. So
Oh yeah, 100%. And you know, we lucked out with getting Megan to come out last year. Not gonna
yeah,
lie,
yeah,
she had some deliveries to make to Barton's
yeah,
out here. But it blew my mind because they were really one of the easiest,
Yes.
on my nerves and on me managing that cell.
Yep.
There's information just flew in quickly. The pictures flew in quickly, and
Yep.
then it was like, boom, done.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
So
Well,
that makes a huge difference.
and I think too, like me and you don't have any issues if you're calling us on Monday for help. Like me and you are willing to help you, but an hour before they're due is probably frustrating for you and me to try to figure out how to help you get information or gather information. And that's the thing I tell people all the time. You're better to ask early than you are late.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. 100%. 100%. Well, Justin, that kind of brings us to the end of our discussion today.
Yep.
Hey, thanks.
No, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. It was fun. So.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. So
Yeah.
I want to give our viewers a couple of reminders. We are going to continue to do these live streaming sessions. We will have all of our reserve champions and champions on Facebook live sessions throughout the month of March. So those are going to be on Tuesday and Thursday evenings most of the time, but we are going to be as flexible as we can with those breeders as well. So those dates may change. So we're not announcing anything quite yet, but it's going to be awesome. We're going to have lots of cool content with those breeders coming on and doing these Facebook lives with us. For the consigners out there thinking about consigning, we're less than a month away. I can't believe that it's already partway through February, but March 4th is just around the corner.
Yep.
That's when your consignments are due without a late fee. So after that, it goes up by $10 a head. So,
Sweet.
all the information can be found on the apexshow.com. And that brings us to the end. So Justin, thank you.
No,
it was fun.
I enjoyed it. Till next time.
Yep. All right. We'll see. Oh, we got one comment. All right. Perfect. That they said we did great last year. So, we're going to try to duplicate that this year. So we're going to duplicate it and add to it.
Yeah, we're going to get better.
Exactly. All right, Justin. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.
Yep. See you, bud.
We'll see you.